Hello, my name is Richard. I'm a cosplayer. Normally I do characters like Indiana Jones' dad from Last Crusade, Dr. John Hammond from Jurassic Park, Sir Barristan Selmy from Game of Thrones. So old guys with gray beards. But I love Stranger Things. I love the Chief Hopper character. And I decided to put together that cosplay actually several years ago when season 2, I think it was about the time that season 2 was out, was when I put together my cosplay. And at that time, there was a great thread running on an internet forum called RPF. And people were doing a terrific job of sourcing the parts and finding everything, screen matching everything. So I looked on YouTube, I couldn't find any videos, so I made myself at that time a series of videos about it. And the first video was, now I don't do the civilian, Hopper civilian clothes, just the Hawkins police uniform. So the first video does the shirt and the things that go on the shirt, the trousers, the belt, the boots. Then the second video I did was on the hat and the revolver and holster. And the third video was on his heavy winter coat that he wears in season 3, and then also some of the accessories, the sunglasses, the wristband, the watch, and his folding belt knife, things like that. Now, going back more recently, I've had to do a more complicated video on the hat, and so I have to divide now the second video into two. So one of them is just going to be on the hat, one is just going to be on the revolvers and the holster. So, what revolvers does Hopper carry? There's a great site called the Internet Movie Firearms Database. And I would really look, that's a great source. And that's where I got this information from. So, Hopper in season 1 carries a Smith & Wesson Model 66. It's a .357 Magnum, it's a 4-inch barrel, it's got checkered walnut grips, and it's the frame size that Smith & Wesson calls a K frame, which is their medium frame. Now, oddly enough, in season 2, he switches to a different revolver. Now he switches to a Colt Python. But a lot of the other things are the same. It's still .357 Magnum, it's still a 4-inch barrel. Now it's nickel plated, not stainless steel, but it's still silver colored. And it also has checkered walnut grips. And it's Colt's medium frame, which Colt calls an I frame. Now, why does he switch? My theory is that, because you have to realize that the studios don't have the firearms. Those are rented from a separate company. So they went for season 1, they went to this firearms rental place, and they rented the S&W, the Smith & Wesson Model 66, and they did the filming for the season 1. And when filming was done, they turned in the firearm. And then when season 2 came around and it was time to do the filming and they went to rent the firearm, my theory is that it was out. It was out on another project. And so they had to look around for a comparable looking thing, something that looks similar in the holster. And so that's when they switched the Colt Python, but everything else is the same. So if you're not paying attention very much, you're going to think it's the same revolver. Now, as far as season 3, I'm not sure. I don't remember now what he has in season 3. But then now in season 5, there's scenes showing. I don't think it's him. I think it's another character, but I think it's using his revolver, or maybe he hands his revolver to a character, and it's back to the season 1, the Smith & Wesson. So, which I think is interesting. And so, if you're a cosplayer, I think a good way to get a pretty accurate looking replica weapon that's inexpensive is airsoft. Is go with an airsoft one. And I could not find an airsoft match for his season 1 revolver. I could find things close, but they were always wrong in some way. Because his has a half-lug injector, so someone would have the full injector. So yeah, or they'd be black, where you could, I guess, buy one and paint it silver. So then I started looking around season 2, and once again, I couldn't find an airsoft that was exactly the same. But what I could find, and plentiful and cheap, was Rick Grimes' Walking Dead zombie killer revolver, which actually is identical to Hopper's Season 2 revolver. It's a Colt Python 357 Magnum. It's nickel plated, has checkered walnut grips. The only difference is that Rick Grimes has a 6-inch barrel and Hopper's is a 4-inch. So I bought, I think it was only $20 or something. I bought one of the Rick Grimes airsoft. I took it all apart. I took all the metal parts out of it, screws, springs, everything. So leaving just a plain plastic, non-ferrous replica that will go through a metal detector because there's no metal in it. And I took off the barrel, and it was a 6-inch barrel. I just sawed it off. Of course, I had to move the sight back and pop it back on there. And that's where I now have the accurate Hopper revolver from Season 2. Now, what about the holster? So this is the screen accurate holster. I was very lucky to find this on eBay. I searched for quite a long time. It's made by a company called Tex Shoemaker that's not around anymore. And the model is what Tex Shoemaker called Model 35A. And this one is marked, it has their logo, it says 35A, and then it says LF. And that doesn't mean, the L doesn't mean left-handed, it means the L frame. And so Smith & Wesson, their K is their medium frame, their L and their N is a large. The L is kind of halfway between medium and large. So that's that frame. Now the model, which was made by not only Tex Shoemaker, but other holster companies, if you notice here's the line of the belt, you notice that the holster is actually canted at an angle. That's called a Border Patrol holster model or a Jordan model. And there's a lot of companies that make these. So for example, I've seen these go on eBay, these used ones, to Tex Shoemakers, the originals, upwards of $150. And also the color, that kind of, they made a lot of different colors, and that ginger color is kind of hard to find. So good luck with that. Like I said, I was lucky. But what I did before I found this is there's another holster company called Don Hume, and they have a model 216, which is very similar to this, and it's a Border Patrol holster, and it's got the basket weave trim and everything, but it doesn't have the same kind of snap mechanism. So what's this thing? So most holsters just have a strap that comes around. For some reason, this Tex Shoemaker, this strap here is actually connected, it snaps onto another little short strap. So there's this little short one that comes down, comes out of this little slot here. And so this is a separate piece. And so you can snap that on there, you snap that on there. So if you want to take the pistol out, you can snap it there like you would in a normal holster, or you can snap it there and leave that in place while you draw the holster out. Now, what's the advantage of that? I don't know, but that's the way it's made. And when I first started cosplaying, I got a Don Hume in 216, but I couldn't find one in this color. But what there were a lot of on eBay is ones that were black. So I just bought a black one and painted it and used a two-tone. I first came with like a kind of a mid-brownish color over it. And then I dry brushed this ginger color over top. So it had kind of some dimension to it. And it was fine. I just wore that initially. But I was actually able to eventually find the right one. Not that I can bring the pistol into a Comic-Con around here in California. They wouldn't allow anything that resembles a firearm. All right, so that does it for the revolvers. And I will say that in Season 5, the last episode where Hopper appears again in his Hawkins police uniform, he's got a completely different holster. It's this color, but it's this really weird looking one. So you can check that out, but I'm not interested in replicating that one.